It can be over, you have to set your, I think at a certain age, men are like, oh, I want peace. Obviously, I dated these men at a younger age. But what happened?
Well, I'm laughing at two different things. I'm laughing at two different things. I'm laughing at Maya.
Sorry, something.
I'm laughing at Maya. I'm sorry.
What'd you say, Maya?
Maya didn't say anything.
Maya didn't
but
say
she said everything.
What happened, Maya? Tell me.
She'll have to tell you. She'll have to tell you later.
Yeah, I be catering a little bit too much. You can't do that.
I do think that you need to have boundaries. And one thing that I'm very open about is that I go to therapy. I've been going to therapy off and on since I was a little girl. So
I never got an opportunity to tell you what my downfall is. And I'm so happy that men have changed their minds on what they want. Because just understand that this was not the thing back in the day. I asked both of my exes, because I was talking to a new guy and I wanted to do it right. So I was like, what can I change about myself? Because I really like this one. And they were like, one, don't fall in love in the first week. I was like, okay. I was like, you think I fall in love in the first week? He was like, yes. And if you do, just keep it to yourself. I was like, okay. Poker face. And the other was like, try not to be a doormat. Like, have some boundaries. It's okay to say no sometimes. So when I'm in love, I am a softie in a relationship. I am a caterer. But sometimes too much catering can be a bad thing. It can be over, you have to set your, I think at a certain age, men are like, oh, I want peace. Obviously, I dated these men at a younger age. But what happened?
Well, I'm laughing at two different things. I'm laughing at two different things. I'm laughing at Maya.
Sorry, something.
I'm laughing at Maya. I'm sorry.
What'd you say, Maya?
Maya didn't say anything.
Maya didn't
but
say
she said everything.
What happened, Maya? Tell me.
She'll have to tell you. She'll have to tell you later.
Yeah, I be catering a little bit too much. You can't do that.
I do think that you need to have boundaries. And one thing that I'm very open about is that I go to therapy. I've been going to therapy off and on since I was a little girl. So I remember one time at the beginning of my relationship, I had talked to my therapist and she told me, she was like, it's important for people in relationships not to be like this. You have to come together and make sure that you hold your own as yourself. And that's why I said it's still important to take care of yourself, because if you take time to take care of yourself, you will make those boundaries that are important to you. So therefore, that will allow you to love on your partner the way you want to love on your partner, and you're still loving on yourself at the same time. And therefore, you don't have to just stop, catering to your man the way you want to cater to yourself, but you are paying attention to yourself and making sure you're getting that same love to yourself.
It is so funny because when we discussed that, the submissive, if you guys didn't see last week's episode, make sure you go back and look at last week's episode. When we looked at the submissive thing, and I was listening to all the things that she had to say, if you look at the whole video, I'm like, she's doing all the things that I used to do. And I'm like, it's going to backfire. I just feel it. It's going to backfire. I mean, it sounds good.
But it just also depends, because my thing is, if she feels my thing is, if you're reciprocating that, if you feel like your man is doing everything that you need to feel as whole, and you can pour into your man in all those ways, in that specific way, because that's what your man likes, then that may work for them. You know what I'm saying? Because every man's need is not the same. So when you become submissive to a man, just because she's being submissive to her man this way doesn't mean you are submissive to your man that way, because everybody has different likes and needs and wants. So if that works for them, hey. But I do think that when a man pours into his woman, a woman will pour out to her man, because a woman naturally is a nurturer. We take care of everything. We, like Shantae was saying, sometimes we overly do it. And that's why it's important for women to make sure they take care of themselves, because we naturally will give everything, with no hesitation. And so because we naturally do that, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves. So
yeah, I would definitely pick up off of what you're saying, where like boundaries is the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. And so, when Shantae, to pick up off of, kind of like last week's episode, where it's like, if that's your love language and that's what you want to do, that's fine, but you have to make sure that it's being reciprocated for you. Like, you have to make sure that your cup is being poured into as well. And so, it goes both ways. And so, just as much as you need me to pour into you, I need you to pour into me. And so, but definitely I've actually learned how important boundaries are in recent years, just having like growing pains with like people pleasing and going above and beyond for other people at my own personal expense, and understanding the power in saying no, and just validating myself that saying no is necessary and saying no is okay. And if someone can't understand that no and can't respect that no, that's a reflection on them, not a reflection on me. And so boundaries are certainly key.